If you need comfort, stability and a wide toe box, the Altra Paradigm 8 is built exactly for that. It's zero drop, it's packed with Ego Max cushioning, and it has one of the widest fits you'll find in a stability shoe. But the ride feels completely different compared to other stability shoes like the Keanu and the Adrenaline, as it supports your foot in a completely different way. In this review, I'll cover the fit, the cushioning and stability, and explain whether this shoe is worth it, whether you're using it for walking or for running. So the Altra Paradigm 8 uses Ego Max cushioning. It's a balanced cushioning overall, so not as plush as what we see in other stability shoes like the Keanu 32, but not as firm as what we saw in the Paradigm 7. So sits somewhere in the middle, relatively balanced overall. It also has moderate stiffness in the forefoot. For those of you who need some limited protection for hallux rigidus or bunions, you will find it in this alongside the wide toe box. However, it has quite a mild forefoot rocker and a minimally aggressive heel bevel, which means that it transitions a little bit slowly from the back to the front of the shoe. For anyone that's expecting some cloud-like comfort, well, that's definitely not the shoe in the Paradigm 8, as this one leans more into stability and control. At 279 grams in a size 9 men's US, it's one of the more lightweight stability shoes on the market, and obviously being an Altra shoe, it has a zero drop, and that's one of the key factors to consider here. So with 32 mils from the back to the front of the shoe, 2 more than what we saw in the Paradigm 7, we've got no difference in height from the back to the front. If you're used to shoes with a 6 to 8 mil drop, dropping from that all the way down to 0 can cause some problems around your Achilles and your calf, as it places extra strain on the back of your leg. Or if you're used to a low drop shoe or a zero drop shoe, this is an excellent stability option. But later on I'll explain whether these trade-offs are worth it overall when it comes to performance, whether you're walking or running. When we talk about the fit, we've got Altra's anatomical toe box. So this is how all shoes should fit in my opinion. So we've got a really broad toe box at the front and a more narrow fit towards the midfoot and the heel. That's complemented by a padded tongue which assists with the lockdown to give you a nice centered feel in the shoe throughout, but still allows that extra space for your toes to display. And one of the key features that we see in a lot of Altra shoes is that it's got this really flexible heel counter at the back of the shoe. So those of you who get sensitivity around the back of the heel, that shouldn't be an issue for most of you here. So that means it's not going to be as locked in the back of the heel as some shoes like the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 24, but we still had an adequate lockdown in my opinion. But let's take a look at the stability features that are really unique in this shoe. So we've got the guide rail system on the inside and the outside of the heel. So these come up from the midsole, cradle your foot, help to control pronation moments, keeping you centered in the shoe as you move. So very similar to what we see in the Brooks range, but relatively unique to any wide toe box shoes on the market, especially those that have a zero drop. So the downside of this compared to the Brooks shoes is you don't have the similar rocker or the higher stack that we see in Brooks shoes, which normally have an 8 to 10 mil drop, whereas this is on the other end of the spectrum, a zero drop, some nice guide rails to keep you centered, but you don't have the same lockdown on top as what we get with the Brooks. So who is this shoe for? Well, the Altra Paradigm 8 is an excellent shoe if you need a roomy toe box, a zero drop, but you're someone who needs some stability in the shoe as well. However, if you're looking for a more plush ride, you're looking for some direct arch support, or more rocker geometry, then this isn't the shoe for you. Because of the relatively flat midsole underneath the middle of the foot, I definitely feel this is more of a walking shoe. It can be used for some of those easy runs, especially if you're looking for a zero drop shoe with some support, but it's definitely not a race pace shoe or a faster workout shoe, just because of the speed that I transitioned from the back to the front of the shoe. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll pop some links for it in the description below if you want to check out the latest price on Amazon. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching.